everyone. It's been a while. I think it's been like months maybe. But we're back and we're gonna play chapter 3. Okay, I think this is this one. Yeah. On and the wolf's grave for will stand. Oh, well, how am I excited to play? For this one, I have never ever read it or never ever played it because I think it's just been out on this year. And I played it I think last year on Halloween, so this will be fun. Grab a drink, turn off your lights, and let's get cozy. Wow. I'll tell you the story of Onan the wolf's grave for was stand. Right, we left off with Samian being gone. The whispering is actually really cool. I hurriedly rubbed my glasses. The glasses. Samin was touching them in his fist while I was getting beaten up. And in just a couple hours, this lost item was lying on the ledge of my window. It was hard to imagine that Shoma suddenly got guilty conscious and returned my glances in such a strange way. I was shocked, but kept walking towards the classroom, accompanied by nasty whispers all around me. That photo still stood before my eyes. Damien has gone missing. Damien is gone. His fat fingers will never get to my throat. His signet ring won't smash into my chin. He'll never humiliate me again. Wasn't that what I wished for? On the other hand, did I really wish Damian to become a murky stain on the notice board? He was still someone's son, or a grandson. He went through the same struggle as me. Did I really wish for my unseen companion to dispatch him in such a brutal fashion? I didn't know the answer, or I was just scared of it. Nonetheless, school still had something nice about it. Paulina, the girl with the violin, was like mountain spring, like well water that you gulp down, pressing your lips against the thick outer ring of a bucket and can never get enough. What if I make her one of the characters in the story I'll draw? The protagonist will save her from terrifying monsters. As soon as I thought of monsters, a bunch of my classmates slid down the rail, smirking like the xenomorphs from the alien. Xenomorphs from the alien. I immediately felt larvae of fear writhe in my stomach. I didn't want to cross paths with Romka and Piasha after what happened yesterday, especially since Semyon suddenly went missing. Wait, there's the same class as me? Oh, there's Katerina. I entered the classroom and went towards the last row. All the chatter suddenly died down, so I walked down in complete silence. I felt like my classmates pushed and poked me with their stares. They carefully observed my every move. They looked at me like a mortifying mix of pity, ridicule, and derision, like a scientist look at an ugly representative of a newfound species of worms. I stared at the desk with a huge pile of library textbooks on top, my fists clenched. It felt like I was the one who disappeared in that snowy forest, and my desk was finally used for something worthwhile. Simon's empty chair stood in front of me. The chair that once belonged to Vova was gathering dust somewhere in another classroom. After a moment of hesitation, I sat down at Baburin's desk, the place where I was supposed to be assigned by Lilia Pavlovna at first. The chatter resumed as if someone just unpaused a movie.
Бабушка Бабурина такой кипиш устроила, когда он домой не явился.
Oh, her name's Katya, right? I remember the wrong person's name. Oh, this is Babsha and Romka.
Сначала в школу прибежала, потом ментов вызвала. Да-да-да.
Katya snuck a cunning glance at me, then leaned to her neighbor and whispered something. Girls from the second row also leaned in. She shared something with them too. Whispers, nods. I kept catching her stare on myself. Her neighbor stared too. The whole class was watching me. It was like they felt the need to watch me because They were searching for the traces of blood on my fingers. I wanted to defend myself and shout, "Guys, listen, I'm innocent." The delinquent turned around and stared at me in silence. Their looks were dripping with malice. But why? What did I do to them? Their friend went missing and they're still focused on me. Suddenly, I noticed Basha drilling a hole in my nose with his eyes. It felt like he was about to point his fingers at me and shout at the top of his lungs. "Everyone look! Baburin snatched his glasses yesterday, and now he has them back. Murderer." But he remained silent as if there was nothing special at all about my glasses. I may be going mad, but I think Basha knows something. He knows something, but he won't tell me what. As if looking for protection, I clutched the ruler until my hand hurt.
Не надо быть Коломбо, чтобы догадаться. Кто на Бабурина зуб имел? Кто его вчера ударил? Поиздевался, а после...
Metal ruler fell out of my weak fingers. It hit the floor with a jingle, and then my other kids shuddered. Katya bit her tongue and squirmed nervously. Chairs scraped against the floor as my classmates moved away from me, closer to the exit, towards the teacher's desk. I was not the only one to catch the wind of that change. Romka and Biasha looked around and winced in contempt. Too bad that they weren't afraid of me like everybody else.
Да прикуси ты! Бабурин, небось, с бабкой посрался и сдымил на. Скоро найдется.
Найдется, ага. Во враге, со вспоротым брюхом.
I gulped. I imagined Shoma on a weak, snowy blanket, his face, white like a fish belly, split down the middle by the crevice of his mouth. Snowflakes falling on his glassy eyes and filling up his throat. Well, that's not a good imagery, is it? See? I could almost hear his condescending tone. "It's all your fault." But why was Semyon the only one get his dessert for bullying me? Weren't all of them supposed to disappear? Ramka, Biasha, Katya, along with every laughing onlooker. Of course, Semyon did me a favor by disappearing. Thanks to him, my classmate now stared at me in awe. But that was only side of the coin. What if I have to repay that favor soon? The door creaked. Paulina entered the classroom. I straightened up in a hurry so she wouldn't see me looking like a scattered critter. Paulina went to her seat without looking at me. The ringer's trill announced the start of the class.
Так, заканчиваем бардак. Дети, встаньте. Петров, тебя это тоже касается.
Lilia Pavlovna went to her desk, followed by a policeman in uniform. It was the man that visited us just recently. Tall, and his stare so sharp you could get cut on it.
Здрасте.
Здравствуйте!
Садитесь. Познакомьтесь, это старший лейтенант Константин Владимирович Тихонов.
Wow, that's a difficult name.
Он задаст вам несколько вопросов и проведет небольшую лекцию по безопасности.
Лучше лекция от милиционера,
The class
чем
living up
урок
talking to a
писать.
policeman was way better than studying. I, on the other hand, was ready to sit through the hundreds of hours of Russian literature just to escape the Lytton opera Shakespeare. His brown eyes followed around the classroom looking for me. Hair stood on the back of my neck and an icicle had lodged in my gut.
А правда, что Бабурина маньяк убил?
Екатерина, ну-ка цыц.
Oh, you did see Katerina.
Вопросы здесь взрослые задают.
Просто нам всем страшно. Может, убийца бродит где-то рядом? Или сидит у нас за спиной?
Her sly stare was directed at me. Did she just like middle finger me? Tikhonov stepped in between the rows of desks and started walking at an excruciatingly slow pace, brushing his fingers against the chair he passes by. Some of the students almost broke their necks following his movements. That's how a crowd of commoners would gleefully anticipate a public execution in the Middle Ages. He just walked, getting closer and closer to me. I grit my teeth to stop myself from screaming. Calm down. Breathe. You didn't kill or kidnap anyone. He already knew the answer to his question, but the policeman still asked in a stern voice.
Петров Антон?
Да.
Встань, Петров.
My muscles turned to stone. I got up, unglued myself on the chair. I felt like I could hear all my joints creak in the process. I only wished that Paulina wouldn't turn around and see the grimace of horror on my face. If only I could be somewhere far away, in the forest, picking myself into a snow pile, rolling up into a ball of bear. The officer stared at me as he was about to lock a pair of handcuffs on my wrist. I wonder how cold his bracelets are to touch. I imagined myself getting jailed and put into juvenile detention center, where tons of Samians would constantly harass me.
Я ничего не знаю. Я тут ни при чем.
А тебя никто и не обвиняет. Пока что.
Only then I noticed a file that said case number in his hand. With a gray cover made from rough cartoon. It flopped onto the desk like the guillotine blade that slid down on someone's neck. With a measured motion, Tikhonov opened the file, still studying me with his gaze. I caught a glimpse of documents and photos. They showed prints on the snow. They looked like animal prints.
Ты с Семеном Бабуриным общался?
Я знал его всего 1 неделю.
Все знают, Петров его ненавидел.
I turned red. You ugly bitch. She is. She's not ugly though, but she is a bitch. I want to sink my teeth in Katya's face and chew out her cheek. Instead, I replied with the calmest voice I could muster.
Мы повздорили вчера. Но он первый начал. Я его ударил.
Сильно?
Да нет, так.
I waved my hand indecisively. Tikhonov looked at my fist as if he was surprised that I managed to hit the big kid from the photo. Surprisingly, Pavlovna comes to my rescue.
Бабурин проблемный подросток. С шилом кое-где.
The officer replied with a meaningful nod and fished out a notebook out of the file.
Это твое?
I averted my gaze. It was my math notebook with my name on it. My classmates devoured me greedily with their eyes. It felt like even the writers on the portrait squinted at me in suspicion.
Мое.
В лесу нашли. Там же тракторист, что снег убирал в последний раз, видел Бабурина.
I started blinking in bewilderment. Romka ransacked my school bag. His notebook probably just got lost somewhere in the bushes. They didn't know about the school brawl, but was he aware of the fight in the forest clearing? I had witness that could testify to Simeon, and all walking different into directions after that. I looked towards the boys, hopeful. Romka, who stood behind Tikhonov, put a finger to his lips. And when the officer quickly turned around, he pretended to pick his nose. I deciphered his signal. Boys like Romka would probably say something like, snitches get stitches in a situation like this. I frantically fixed my glasses. Wait, Simeon took them away yesterday, but not there.
Так что ты делал вчера в лесу, Антон?
Я в школу через лес хожу. Могла выпасть легко.
Easily, just like me producing the soft truth.
Будь осторожнее.
So I could realize whether it was genuine a piece of advice or a field threat, the teacher said.
Класс. А сейчас лейтенант расскажет о правилах, которые вам необходимо соблюдать.
Так маньяк все-таки есть.
Пока мы ничего вам сказать не можем. Но есть преступник или нет, вы должны четко помнить о собственной безопасности. Вас бережет милиция, вас опекают родители и учителя. Но в первую очередь защищать себя должны вы сами. Итак, кто там что хотел узнать?
A stocking of arms rose from the desk.
А у вас оружие с
The
собой?
kids shouted over each other, swarming the policeman with questions. In an attempt to calm down the chorus, he moved towards the blackboard. The gray file was left lying in front of me. I stared at it, my breathing so ragged that it might have looked like someone who just ran on a 100-meter sprint. Heaps of sweat rolled down my back.
Ясно.
I look around the classroom. My classmates were catching officers' every word. Only Romka was saying something to Pyasha. Lilia Pavlovna was staring at the window, fighting back yawns.
Объявлять комендантский час причин пока нет. Слишком
We
мало
can open
времени
it,
прошло
but
с момента исчезновения вашего
I don't think I want
одноклассника.
to open it.
Мы все уверены, что он найдется
What do you
живым и
think, guys?
здоровым.
Oh, right, this is not a stream. I think we'll just
Но
see him.
сразу
What
после
he's doing.
уроков вы должны идти домой и отчитываться перед родителями. Гулять во дворах, чтобы вас видели. И не в одиночку, а по двое или компанией. И ни в коем случае не ходите за гаражи.
Oh. The officer finishes lecture and starts searching around with his eyes. Finally, he noticed the folder he left on my desk, put it silently under his arm, and went towards the blackboard without looking back.
И еще раз. Если вы заметите в поселке кого-то подозрительного, неважно, возле школы или на лесной тропинке, сразу сообщайте в милицию. Телефон-то знаете? Спасибо, ребята. Спасибо, Лилия Павловна. И это... Одноклассника вашего мы найдем.
Yeah, right, a thought flashed through my mind. Dig through the ditches. Maybe you'll be able to piece him together, like Legos. My thoughts turned evil for some reason and I couldn't control them. I tried to switch to let him speech about suspicious individuals. What if I saw the killer before? What if I was a hair breath away from them? Suspicious people, How suspicious was the fox girl that wandered in the darkness? A weirdo that always appeared out of nowhere and then dissolves into thin air with her riddles and rhymes. Would she really harm the hulking Simeon? Should I tell the officer about her? Is it a choice? Oh no. Wait. What if I get mobbed for speaking out? What if they start whispering behind my back, or what's even worse, think that I'm insane? Kamka gave me a stern look over the shoulder. I thought someone like him would approve of cooperating with the police. Katya's braid dangled nervously behind the delinquent sitting in front of me. My hand was glued to the desk.
До свидания, лейтенант.
Tikhonovsky was saying goodbye to Lilia Pavlovna. He was about to leave. I'll be too late soon. Now this is difficult. Tell him about what? About the fox girl? I don't really want to tattle on her. I think we'll play nice and stay silent. No way. Had enough of humiliation. I'll keep my head down like a bunny. I lock my fingers and zip my mouth. The bell rang. Lilia Pavlovna passed by without looking my way. Polina laughed after her. My classmates were silent at the same time, as if someone muted the sound on TV. They followed me with their eyes the whole time I was passing between the rows. Judgmental looks. I felt like I was in the scopes of many sniper rifles. I skizzed through the barricade made of desk and looking for Paulina. Man, I'm not good at reading today. But I stumbled into my new buddies instead. Romka swaggered up to me,
Решил сдать нас ментам?
but I did
Я
not.
ничего не сказал.
No, right?
Да то подумал-на.
Romka towered over me, breathing out a faint smell of tobacco.
Ты сильно ошибаешься, думая, что без Сёмы у тебя настанут веселые деньки.
Мы тебя сосвету живем, понял?
До скорого, очкарик.
My head tilted towards from his lap.
Вот the лохна!
I wasn't surprised to find a note stuck to my back during the break. It said, "Kick me." My nightmare clearly wasn't about to end. It's been 7 days since the lieutenant visited our class. At first glance, everything was still the same. The forest still held out its gnarly claws towards the village, and the wind whipped up white flags weaved from powdery snowy every night. When parents argued in the other room, I would turn on the TV volume to silence their muffled voices and sit close to Olya. Bova and Simon's photo were still two black spots on the notice board. But something did change. I could see how different the looks of my classmates were. They met me with a new portion of pokes and insults, contempt, mockery, and loneliness became my faithful companions. Most importantly, a shadow slid across my desk, leaving behind a mysterious note. I glanced into the space between the rows, but the messenger was already nowhere to be found. Who sent me this note? What could this carefully ripped out and neatly folded piece of paper be hiding from me? More threats and humiliation, or... I took the piece of paper and carefully inhaled the wafting aroma. Blackberry. I'll be waiting at the cul-de-sac near the dressing room. Come alone. Inside was a message in a beautiful handwriting. I'm waiting at the end near the dressing room. Come alone. Drunk on that sudden call, I immediately started walking, looking over my shoulder from time to time, making sure nobody's following me. Even though I suspect it could be another trap set by Ramka and Biasha at first, these buzzing thoughts still left my mind. Too often didn't have enough combined brain power to fake Polina's notes so carefully. I'd even noticed how I almost broke into a run and jump around the corner. As soon as I did that, I ran with somebody's inside the dark nook.
Ой!
Like a magic bird, a green notebook glided to my feet. Paulina puffed her cheeks in exaggerated anger.
Петров! Да ты совсем зрение потерял.
I fixed my glasses. My nearsightedness wasn't that embarrassing anymore. I bent down and picked up the notebook.
Прости, я так торопился. Ты меня ждала? Что случилось?
Paulina studied me with her eyes and clicked her tongue.
А знаешь, на что ты похож, Антоша? На блюзовую импровизацию.
What does that mean? I blinked in bewilderment.
Это как?
Для меня все люди с чем-то ассоциируются.
И для меня. Но не с музыкой же.
Oh, the music.
Вот как раз с музыкой. Бывают люди гитарные соло, или барабанный бой, или военный марш, как наша Лилия Павловна. А ты такой задумчивый, таинственный, иногда немного печальный, точно блюз.
А почему импровизация?
А это когда слушатель не догадывается, куда свернет мелодия, какой темп возьмет.
Of course, some of the things Paulina said went completely over my head, but I couldn't stop looking at her smile, like a breeze in May, and her eyes deep and blue.
Чтобы распознать в тебе музыку, нужен опыт и вкус. Это не какая-то там эстрада.
Я, наверное, вообще не знаю, что такое этот блюз.
Paulina gasped and frowned, which made her look even more beautiful.
Не произноси при мне такие слова. Я тебе обязательно дам кассету. Раньше мне дедушка из города столько музыки привозил. И джаз, и свинг, и классику. Это он подметил, что у меня склад ума, как у музыканта. Я еще совсем маленькой пыталась на бумаге записать звуки природы. Пение дождя, леса.
Эх, мне бы твои уши.
А мне бы твои глаза.
I tensed up, worried that she was making fun of me, but Paulina shook her head.
Да-да, я серьезно. У тебя глаза художника. Смотришь на вещи и фиксируешь их. Я так не умею.
Oh! The bitch. Katya walked past us with her trademark frosty glare. We dove into the shadows, trying to escape it.
Теперь понимаешь, почему мы тут прячемся? Вот из-за таких, как она.
Bitch.
А Катька какая мелодия.
Paulina flashed me a sly smile.
Скрип несмазанных дверных петель. Знаешь, такой мерзкий дискант.
I giggled, covering my mouth. Katya didn't hear our whispers, but she suddenly glanced over her shoulder, clearly annoyed. A moment later, she sighed and went her way. I remember about the notebook I was still clutching in my hand. I turned it into my hand. Instead of subject name from the front side of the name of the owner with 2 words, friends only.
Любопытной Варваре кое-что оторвали.
Прости, это анкета?
Заполнял когда-нибудь?
Угу.
I lied that I had. In reality, girl classmates from my previous school never asked me to fill their questionnaires. It was quite upsetting. I mean, it was a girl's hobby. You just answer a set of standard questions about your favorite actors, colors. But entrusting someone with such a notebook was the sign of friendship. Oh, that's true. I think I done that too. When I was at school a long, long time ago. But yeah, that's interesting. And maybe something even more, something I only had a vague idea about.
Хочешь, заполни мою?
My heartbeat quickened.
Хочу, спасибо.
Paulina giggled.
А хотя, там же столько секретов. Наверное, лучше тебе не знать, о чем мы, девочки, думаем.
She reached for the notebook, playing with me. I tossed my finding into my free hand. Paulina tried to intercept my move. Oh wow, she is beautiful. Her hair briefly touched my face, tickling my nose with its silky lock. Damn, she's like freaking shampoo commercial. I sensed an aroma that immediately filled the whole world, fragrant, alluring, and lively. If only I could picture it, feel it for myself. I felt dizzy, but I gathered myself and spoke in a voice reminiscent of a little Tikhonov.
Ваша анкета является важнейшей уликой, и я вынужден временно изъять ее для изучения.
Paulina covered her mouth that rounded in a fake horror.
И что мне грозит за сокрытие улик?
Следствие покажет.
Сдаюсь, товарищ милиционер. Только обещайте ничего не читать. Здесь содержатся секретные сведения.
Боюсь, что мне все-таки придется выяснить, не влюблен ли кто в гражданина Петрова.
Oh wow. Paulina burst out laughing and pressed herself against my chest, showering me with the aroma of her hair and her milky skin that looked almost transparent, tiny threads of veins running under it. Her whisper was hot, like a piece of butter sizzling on a pan.
Тогда поклянитесь, что не станете разглашать информацию.
Честная милицейская.
А теперь, Антоша, самое время поторопиться.
Well, that was kind of cute, I guess. I took out the notebook during class. Questionnaire. Skimmed through it, reading into other people's preference. I was quite surprised to discover Romka's jerky handwriting is inside. Yeah, because they're friends, right? 6B. I think I also did it with the guys though, for this. Hanging out, is that hanging out, but he wrote it hogging out? Buying a BMW. Don't trust, don't fret, don't ask. Is that his quote? DuckTales. And friends, I guess Yasha, right? DuckTales' probably favorite cartoon, favorite month is February? That's interesting. His letters bulge out of the cells as if embarrassed by their shapelessness. Fearsome Rumka found time for someone. Fearsome Rumka found time for something so silly. Because he likes her, obviously. I chuckled into my fist after I found out that Rumka's favorite cartoon is not even Dorking Duck, but DuckTales. Somewhere in the distance, a teacher was reciting pieces of Andre's Snapper. I paid them no mind. Paulina's page was decorated with flowers drawings, and clippings from the Cool Girl magazine. I can't read. My birthday, okay. Franz Schubert. Paulina Morazon. Listening. See the world. Losing the people I love. Fear, I guess. Frenzy Grandpa. Okay. Pan Musicon of Bremen. Her favorite musician is Schubert. Her best friend is her grandpa. Her hobby is not violin like I expected, but much more mysterious. Listening. Can such a mundane process really be someone's hobby? I looked at Paulina over the head of the other students. She was focused on making notes. I flipped the pages until I found a black one and marked myself with a pen. Anton Preta, plastic screen. Oh, my writing's actually really good. I took a long time to decide my favorite musician until trendy pop band Carman came to mind. Cool dancers in the music video. Favorite holiday, this one's easy. New Year's. Your hobby. My hobby's drawing. My dream's going to Disneyland, I guess. Your hero. My hand moved on stone writing. Daddy! I stopped on those two letters. What if they will read this after me will find my answer laughable and stupid? After thinking about it, I said that everything should be disclosed on paper. That's how Da turned into spy Da man. The spelling was wrong, but who cares? Your biggest fear, huh? I immediately wrote losing a person who's dear to me. Her phone number, no secret here, 30395. Your favorite cartoon? Transformers. That's a cartoon? Okay. Your best friend. I hesitated knowing on the pen's cap. Your best friend. I read the question out loud. It was easy, but at the same time very important. The answer to that was my sister's name, so I carefully wrote it into the squares. Olia. Olia. I repeated my sister's name while speaking out of school. There was a cute, freshly drawn dragon in my notebook that I had made to please my beloved sister. That is really cute. In this land of darkness and deceit, her support was the only thing that inspired me to keep drawing and stopped me from losing hope in humanity. Refreshing frosty air made my cheeks turn beet red. It was bright outside and the sun looked like a whole egg yolk. The road looked as if it was silver. The snow sparkled under the sunlight. I smiled, sensing from the blinding whiteness. Who cares if I don't have any true friends anymore? I have something more important. Someone who needs my help, who will never betray or hurt me. Family is the most important thing ever. That's what Dad always told me.
Лыс, хорош рыбу тянуть.
Oh, fuck him. My numb limbs immediately shrank. Yasha was shuffling his feet in the middle of the yard, his boots restless on the ice.
Я не тяну.
I tried to grow over him, but to no avail. Lady Fortune waved me goodbye, disappearing in the early twilight.
Торопишься на?
Немного. Меня папа ждет.
Я ему тиркну на пейджер, что ты не придешь на.
My eyes flinched unwittingly, my skin dampened.
Идем на, к тебе дельце есть.
I felt chills run all over my body. Wait, let me take a thing. I didn't like the sound of that small business. Those words accompanied by spitting normally had very dark dates underneath them. Strangers that used to call our old apartment used to say, "Get your old man." We have small business to discuss. Bisha turned around. He looked like an astronaut with his tight hood. If I ever imagine him as a sound, he'll be a deafening whistle. Signal given by someone of Sam's watch. So I demised there was nobody at the backyard. Apart from the grim-faced Ramka. He stood there, his feet wide apart, with his right hand hidden behind his back. Ramka's dry lips were tightly pursed. He kept shooting glances at me as he looked around.
Привел на.
I bet it's Paulina's book, isn't it?
Вижу. Ну, здорово, Антоша.
Yep.
Что тебе нужно?
Slowly took out the thin, carnivorously shiny blade from behind his back. A knife, the steel butterfly of death that flies towards the victim's heartbeat. I stepped back instinctively and ran my back into Biasha. Ramka's minion pushed me back.
А мы с Бешей хотели узнать. Ты не держишь на нас обиду?
Ramka started picking on his yellow nails, looking at me with an evil smirk on his face.
Ну, там, в лесу. Мы были немного грубы с тобой.
Сам понимаешь, такое у нас воспитание.
Да, до вас, городских, далеко. Вот порой нас и заносит.
I nodded, my eyes glued to the knife. The blade glowered under the setting sun, and Ramka's eyes had the same evil glow. Oh. He stepped towards me. His knife traveled inches from my coat. One movement and steel would cut into my cloth, and if he pushes deeper.
Нам одна птичка напела. Ты опять возле Полины отирался?
Uh-huh. I was so scared that it took me a while to remember who Paulina was. My brain was malfunctioning, my knees were shaking. Suddenly, our class rep slowly walked up to Romka from behind. This bitch, look at your stupid hat.
О, смотрю, мальчики, вы нашли общий язык.
За мной должок, Катька.
Ой, не благодари, Ромочка. Я всегда на страже настоящей любви. Да-да-да.
I'll kill you, I swear.
Так, я не слышу. Ты к Полине подходил или нет?
Мы так болтали.
Болтать будешь кишками, когда я тебе брюхо вскрою.
The blade slid across my sleeve at the stool side and reached my collar. The wind made my face cold, but a bead of sweat still trickled from my temple. A switch flipped in my head. It all made sense now. I remember Romka constantly sneaking glances at Paulina. I remember his scrawly handwriting the questionnaire. Why didn't I study it in more depth?
Еще раз замечу рядом с Полинкой, пеняй на себя. Шишкой не отделаешься. Усек?
Да.
Пшел вон!
I was probably so hypnotized by the knife that Romka had to repeat his threat.
Вон!
I thought about the cold, sharp blade when retreating from the yard. I was asking myself whether I had enough courage to break the promise I made to this bastard. The aftertaste of horrible water I drank down with my maid still lingered in my mouth. My thoughts were focused on Paulina. But Romka's strike was also my mind.
Да.
I wandered around the house feeling intoxicated. I nodded to everything my sister said without trying to discern her words.
И у них был какой-то праздник, и они там поделки лепили и делали все своими руками.
Ollie was talking non-stop at times, lifting her arms and laughing, only to then suddenly go quiet and give me a mom's signature carny look. I was yanked out of the prison of my own mind, where seething thoughts pecked at my brain like harpies, stopping me from coming back to reality. I stared back. Ollie looked like a mini version of our mom right now. Well, to be precise, she looked like the person Mom turned into when we moved here, with her intimidating posture and her eyebrows directed towards the ceiling.
Ты меня не слушал, так?
She started spitting out those words at me, copying facial expression of the person she spent almost all of her free time with. For a moment, I felt like the light Olia exuded all these years waned and wavered in the wind of prolonged changes. Very soon, my beautiful princess will turn into the dragon that once guarding her prison tower. That thought was much scarier to me than any other horror sneaking up from me to the future.
Оля, прости. Ты же не сердишься, правда? Я просто задумался.
I look around the room, my gaze jumping from one object to another like a hungry beast, trying to find anything that could distract Olia.
А давай в приставку поиграем.
Olia pouted, but there was a spark of interest in her small emerald eyes. Snow Queen's eyes shrouded inside them and started thawing.
А как же второй джойстик? Не работает же. А папе починить некогда.
Можем из пистолета пострелять. В ковбоев или уток. Хочешь?
Any yes?
Ты лучше меня играешь.
Да ладно тебе. Пойди целый день тренировалась, пока меня дома не было.
Olia burst out laughing. Her heart was warm once again.
А как ты догадался? Я сейчас знаешь, какая меткая. Считай, уже проиграл.
Не на того напала. Включай скорее.
Little Olia jumped towards the TV set after flicking the power switch. Start blindly feeling around the back side of the photon, trying to plug the console's cable into the antenna input. Bits of TV shows started flashing on the CRT screen when I armed myself with the remote to look for the channel with the sought after Denby signal.
Что дома интересного происходило?
It was a mundane question for me. I didn't put any I meaning behind it. But all the expressions suddenly changed. She lost all of the childless nonchalance she worked so hard to acquire before.
Оль, что-то случилось?
My sister managed to put the cable in its place and start brushing off her dust-covered hand. She was clearly looking for the courage to continue the conversation.
Мама,
Olivia went silent. For a moment, I thought I saw tears welling up in her eyes.
у нее опять был этот страшный.
My sister looked at me with dead eyes. Oh wow, is the dad being abusive?
Приступ.
This had happened before, but it was a rare occasion. Now that we moved into this godforsaken place, Mom's fit rose in frequency.
Принес большую рыбу. Она в газету была завернута и пахла так. А мама опять начала злиться.
Oh.
Взяла нож.
Olivia squirmed, looking fearfully out at the window.
Они начали громко ругаться. И
I froze, imagining my little sister so small and unnoticeable, standing in the kitchen doorway. She wasn't even trying to hide. Our parents just paid her no mind at all.
потом мама ударила. Вот так.
Olivia's sight moved her fists downward, immediately a strike.
Рыбу.
She hit the fish.
Она была живая.
It was still alive, Antosha.
Ей было больно. А мама...
Oh wait, she's talking, sorry. It was so easy to imagine what happened next. The ripping fish with the blade behind its fin squirted some foul smiling musk into Mom's face. Whenever death got this close to my mom, be it a person who was hit by impulse in front of us, or their blood was smeared all over the windshield, or when Grandma chopped off a chicken's head, Mom would always get into a weird, dreadful fit. Oh. Her eyes would roll over, she would fall on her face like a freshly cut tree, and start writhing just like that agonizing fish, turning over chairs and blurting out bits of scary sentences. Oh, she had like panic attacks, I guess? Is it panic attack? But that is a scary looking imagery.
Он ей помог?
Ollie shuddered as if just remembered it pained her.
Да, но вначале засмеялся Тоша. Так страшно, когда увидел, что маме плохо. А потом вдруг забыл.
Ollie's story made me raise an eyebrow. It seems like the force of oozing madness had not only completely consumed our mom, but also infected our strong and courageous dad. I quickly stepped towards Olia and locked her in a tight embrace. She dug her face into my chest and I could feel my shirt becoming wet.
Зачем они так издеваются друг над другом, Тош? Они сумасшедшие.
I shuddered, unable to justify the actions of our parents. I had run out of words. All I could do was hug Olia even tighter. Wow. The fuck is that? The fuck is that? Same. Same, Olia. What the fuck is that? Olia screamed and hid behind me.
Переключи скорей!
No matter how many times she saw this intro, she would always react the same. Just like when she saw that owl. And we also got goosebumps every time this ghastly face appeared on the screen, so I immediately complied with my sister's request. Finally, the game selection screen showed on the cartridges that was handled by the console. It is NES, isn't it? Yeah! Too bad most of the names here are just different levels of the same game. I pick up the gray rectangular controller and start looking around for the pixels letter to find the familiar English word for duck. I mean, Goose Hunt is pretty much the same, right? Background music from the menu soothed Olia's mind, and she asked in a calm voice.
А как твои дела в школе?
Ничего хорошего. Школа новая, а достается мне по-прежнему. Словно и не переезжали никуда. Задолбало.
Before despair could lead me down to a trespassing road towards the clutches of oppressive thoughts, Something evil rooted deep in my skull, awakening wild and pleasant memories.
Хотя, знаешь, кое-что хорошее все же случилось.
Oh, Bunny. Olio watched with hope-filled eyes as a wicked smile spread on my face, faintly resembling the wound from a box cutter knife.
Еще один мальчик пропал.
Тоша, разве это хорошо? Почему ты так говоришь?
My sister's voice trembled, and she looked into my eyes through the thick lens.
Знаешь, а может, тот пропавший Вова сам виноват, что с ним это случилось? Может, он совершил нечто настолько плохое, что не заслужил...
Не будь таким жестоким, пожалуйста!
Is this because of my choices? Like, it's the italic words because I choose the choices that basically made him like more a bad guy, I guess. Like the hitting, and then I'm choosing the wolf girl instead of Paulina. Maybe. It's interesting though. Olia pressed her knees into her chin and hugged them with her hands, trying to take up less space, as if she wanted to shrink or even disappear altogether. It was the only reasonable thing for us to do, go missing among all the other broken toys, and never encounter equal parents or met classmates. We're the only ones left for each other, the only ones who can protect, listen, and sympathize. Which means she's bound to listen to what I think what them all, those beasts pretending to be children. They are so eager to bully the weak. It was my turn to speak.
Думаю, они не последние.
My breath quickened. My fingers start banging on the wooden floor.
Такие люди, как они, недостойны жить, ходить с нами в одну школу, смотреть на твой свет.
My thoughts got tangled up. They slipped away along with my calmness.
Тошенька, хватит! Ты меня пугаешь!
Не бойся, я смогу тебя защитить.
Then I finally noticed that Olia was looking at me like I was a stranger.
Кто ты?
The rage that welled up inside me subsided. It hid under the guise of my cowardliness, leaving me alone with a growing feeling of guilt for scaring my sister.
Оленька, прости, я не хотел. Видимо, я схожу с ума в этой школе.
She rushed to embrace me, barely holding back her tears.
Все хорошо, Тоша. Только, пожалуйста, пожалуйста, никогда так больше не говори.
Клянусь маминым сердцем.
Olia flashed me a bitter
Ты
smile.
сам сказал, что так говорить нехорошо.
Ты права, давай лучше играть.
Только чур я первая.
Oh man, I remember that. I remember that so well. Oh, I used to love this game. That was your good attempt, honey. I can do better. What? I can turn that off. Why should I? I'm good at this. Yeah, look at me. Oh, I missed one. I'm so good at this game. Look at this. Look at that.
Считай, это я тебе поддалась.
She's so fast. We don't have to play like for this long. What the fuck? Oh, I missed. I'm so good. Okay, I got one at least. Not bad, not bad.
О, это ты виноват, что я промазала.
I'm sorry. I'm not being a good brother and letting you win. Okay, I'm competitive. How much did you get? Nice. Is it supposed to be this, Maggie? I think so. Man, it's such an old game, huh? I still don't get how this game works. Like, how does the controller work on the old days? Like, right now I get there's like VR and stuff, but like, how do they work? Just using a cable?
Неситова! Ты ближе к экрану стоял! Я с тобой так больше не играю!
Don't be a sore loser.
Антон! Антон!
My mom only managed to get through on me on her third attempt.
Антон, тебя к телефону! Девочка какая-то!
Paulina? I sobered up in an instant and rushed to the hallway.
Не споткнись, смотри.
I gripped the phone and pressed it onto my chest, looking at my mom. She shrugged and went to the room, gathering the toys thrown all around by Olya as she went.
Алло?
Hello.
У твоей мамы такой молодой голос.
А, ну да. Она сама молодая.
Happiness.
Нет, что ты.
If only she knew how costly this conversation could be for me, and what risk I took on just answering this call. There was a pen and shabby notepad lying on the nightstand. I picked them up and started moving the tips of my pen across paper, producing chaotic doodles that always end up desecrating hard.
Я тут подумала, мне надо тебе сказать кое-что.
I froze. Can't be. Does she like me?
В последнее время у тебя такой потерянный вид, а сегодня в школе на тебе буквально лица не было.
I couldn't find words. My heart was aflutter in anticipation. That is a really good drawing, though.
Я хочу сказать, я на твоей стороне.
A smile was spreading on my face in anticipation for Paulina's next words.
И мне тебя очень жаль.
Oh.
Такие хорошие ребята, как ты, заслуживают большего. Мне очень хочется верить, что однажды ты найдешь в себе силы дать отпор, и другие перестанут тебя задирать.
The pen fell out of my weak fingers. Is that all she's going to say?
Может, даже девушку найдешь.
It sounded as if she was unsure of her own words.
Короче, знай, ты славный парень.
I was a total failure. Compassion instead of an invitation to hang out.
Ты тут?
Before I could reply, Olya descended the stairs. She was holding some book in pink cover and encyclopedia of a young lady.
Ты долго еще?
I covered the handset in my hand.
Я разговариваю. Что случилось?
Почитай мне, пожалуйста. Мама уснула.
Иди к себе, я сейчас.
Только быстрее, ладно?
Ладно.
My last reply sounded excessively annoyed. I sighed and watched my sister running up the stairs.
Алло, Полина?
Прости, мне надо бежать. Представляешь, кое-кто втюрился в меня и теперь оттирается у моих окон, требуя сходить с ним на свидание.
Oh, it's Romka.
Пойду прогоню его, пока дедушка не проснулся. Или, может, дать ему шанс?
I bit my lower lip in jealousy.
Если интересно, расскажу тебе завтра. Мы, в конце концов, друзья.
Hey, hey, hey! That's so scary. Friends, at least she didn't say we were besties.
Да, конечно. Добрый.
The buzzer hammered at my brain. Dirty slut. Hey! An angry voice spoke through the teeth in my brain. Like a restless zombie devoid of consciousness, I dragged my feet up the staircase. I wish I could tell Dad, ask for his manly advice. But he doesn't show up home until late at night because of his new job. My parents don't have time for me, put it lightly.
Ну, где твоя книжка?
I started. The kids' room was empty.
Оль?
She would probably snuck into my room. I start walking down the corridor. The room was infested with shadows. The blinds were wavering like there was someone hiding behind them. I smiled, sneaked towards the window, and threw open the curtain.
Попалась!
There was nobody behind the cloth. The window was a TV screen showing the winter scenery. What the hell is that? The lamppost, the field, and a couple walking figures in the middle of it. Alyssa and Olia. What? I guessed and pressed my fist into my mouth, sinking my teeth on it. Alyssa was leading Olia into the thicket. I need less than a minute to hurriedly dress and rush out of the house. My heart was beating like a firing machine gun. The wind carried the cold, resinous smell of coniferous trees from the forest. Freezing air crackled somewhere in the field. Two shadows loomed in front of the gate. I could only recognize them as my sister and the fox girl because of their height. I ran towards the fence, leaving. What the hell am I reading? I ran towards the fence, listening to the howling wind and the sweeping snow. One of the figures moved and slowly glided towards the thicket like an ice skater. I slowed down and touched my glasses, trying in vain to adjust my vision to the surrounding darkness. Worry landed on my shoulder like a weightless snowflake. A snake woke up in my belly and started writhing. I felt nauseous. I thought about my home, my flimsy fortress I left behind. I finally caught up to my sister, dressed only in a coat.
Оля!
Ты видел лисичку?
Оля, зачем ты вышла на улицу? Если мама узнает...
My sister froze in place, facing the taiga. She was in hand reach, and I put my numbers on her shoulder for some reason, probably to make sure it wasn't a dream. What? The pointy beak was directed at me, stern with feathers that formed an owl face. Something wearing a bird mask was staring at me.
Не узнает.
The voice sounded exactly like Olia's, but there was somebody else behind the feathers and the cartoon. I sprinted away as if I got whipped. The masked creatures only pretended to be Olia. They still lure me out. I was running like crazy, drowning in snow. The house in front of me was rapidly growing. The yellow light in its windows granted me hope. My mom, our sister, and there, my salvation. I couldn't hear anything from behind me, as if nobody was chasing me. Maybe because the owls can fly? I was only climbing the porch when I noticed another figure. From the soot black shadow of my house, a scuffy wolf cub crawled out and stood in my way. Its movements were jerky, chaotic, as if it was performing some terrifying dance, or convulsing during a storm. It's basically dumb, isn't it? And even though I could clearly see that the wolf face was a mask, some things in this world of convulsion make me freeze in place. The boy in a wolf costume rubbed his side against the porch post and fell to his knees. He bent his back so hard that I felt his spine to crack. The beast's eyes shone, but he didn't attack. He kept crawling around and running on all fours. I shifted my feet, my mouth agape, trying to keep him in my line of sight. Something was trickling from the slit of the mask. Vicious drops fell to the wooden plank. Saliva. Honestly, what's with this furry ass? Some unknown force forced me in the back, whistling to save myself. The fence was slashing out at the edge of my vision. I was running in another direction this time. There was the busy edge of the forest that smelled of pine. My heartbeat measured time. The wolf boy growled behind my back as he forgot his human nature. My right leg got stuck in the snow-laden cavity. I yanked it out, cursing under my breath, and fell to the ground. Blustering snow prevented me from standing up, from propping myself up against anything. But my unbound thirst for life helped me to get out of the trap. Darkness was creeping closer like the toxic fumes of burial fires. I ran again, gasping for air that stung my throat. My hair swayed in the wind. I lost my head, and when I fell down, my ears were now hot from the piercing cold, while most of my body was still sweaty. The field finally ended. After realizing that running into the forest was the smartest decision I could make, I dove into the line of trees. I ran without stopping, my face covered with one of my palms. I didn't want to lose an eye to some random branch. Branch whipped my clothes, prickled my skin like butchers that were herding a pig into the grinder. Knots of roots sprouting from the ground grabbed at my foot. I ran into the stretchy thunk, let down to its base, looked around in panic.
Ух, какой ты быстрый!
My first desire was to dash towards her and hug her. I resisted and squeezed myself even tighter inside.
Ты... Что ты здесь делаешь?
Да вот,
She was holding the hat I lost.
В бюро находок подрабатываю. Надевай, а то уши замерзнут, а потом...
She giggled. I squinted in suspicion as she slid my gaze back and forth between her and her head. Here realized I might be holding several head or something more sinister. But in the end, my head turned out to be just my hand. I'll take it. I took it and pulled it over my forehead.
Тепло?
I didn't reply.
Там во дворе были какие-то дети.
И что, покусали тебя, что ли?
Нет,
А чего же ты убежал?
The answer was obvious, but after rolling the thought of my tongue, I mumbled.
не знаю.
Эх, обещала не обзывать тебя дурачком. А я обещание исполняю.
Cute. She's so cute though. She walked up to me and grabbed me by the elbow. I sensed the familiar aroma of mint, oranges, and burnt sparklers. I wanted to lean into Alice to savor the minute of details of her smell.
Сколько можно повторять? Со мной ты в безопасности. Я твой друг. И они.
I quickly turned around towards the place the foxglove was pointing to. Kids in masks appear at the clearing. At least they look like kids since they are all pretty short. A wolf boy, an owl girl, and a bear boy. That is scary. They all huffed and gasped for air, clearly tired from running around.
Я думала, ты в снег провалился. Стала снег копать? Нет.
А я не копал. Лень копать было.
Is that Semyon? I feel like that's Semyon, isn't it?
А ну как получается? Если дурак, ты бегай да копай. А если умный, подожди, пока другие набегаются, накопаются и устанут. И уж тогда заводи разговор.
It sounds like Semyon, and the teeth and the body is just too Semyon-y for me. And I don't know how to feel about that.
Как я рад!
No, that's like Romka.
Дегенерат!
Degenerate.
А?
Не обращай внимания, он со странностями.
I stood there stupefied, my mouth agape and my hands dangling helplessly. I had no idea how to react to the words of this late-night guest, but I managed to squeeze out something resembling a smile.
Вы просто меня напугали.
They started looking at each other and some might even snorted as if I said something funny.
Да, да, лесоправа!
Это он.
Нет, это наш!
Неужели нашли?
Наш зайчик.
Да-да, похож.
The wolf boy started wagging a part of his costume like it was his tail in excitement.
Ну, конечно, ты первый. Это волчик раньше всех почуял зайчика в тебе и рассказал нам.
Здравствуй.
С нашей совушкой ты знаком не понаслышке. Не такая уж она и страшная, правда?
Да, наверное.
А этот улыбчивый бугай — медвежутка. Ты лучше с ним поласковее, а то голову откусит.
Зачем это?
Да, смотрю, ты чувство юмора где-то обронил.
So is this the owl chick that keeps staring at fucking Olia's window? I was still unsure if these particular little animals had the best intention in mind, so I hid my hands behind my back, trying to look away from the gaping holes of their carnival masks. Alice put her hands on her sides in a theatrical manner and somehow managed to wink with her fox face.
Когда в следующий раз придем, будем звенеть в колокольчики, чтобы ты не так боялся нашего визита.
А у нас разве есть колокольчики?
Чур, я звенеть не буду. У меня лапка болит.
My smile was no longer fake.
О, зубы показал. Это добрый знак. Не ожидала, что сможем тебя рассмешить. Я думала, это под силу только Диснейленду.
Откуда ты знаешь?
Да так, прочитала кое-где.
Oh my god, is she Paulina?
Про меня?
Про клюв от воробья. Про Диснейленд яхонтовый.
Ты умеешь читать по-человечески?
Зря я, что ли, в школу хожу день ото дня.
And then she sang in a coquettish voice.
Как детей не замечать, как мечты их развенчать. Учат в школе,
Yeah.
учат в школе, учат в школе. Крепко-накрепко вломить, с детства слабеньких чморить. Учат в школе, учат в школе, учат в школе.
Nice. I let out a cautious laugh. My new acquaintances seem scary anymore. On the contrary, they look friendly and welcoming. There was something about them that attracted me. Just like the clearing this moon and the snowflakes that fell backwards from the ground to the sky as if someone was rewinding a tape. The masked kids got close and I felt their touch. They gave me their friendly taps, felt my clothes, as if checking whether I was real. There was no animosity in their touch, only pure childish curiosity. For some reason I thought to myself, I can't trust them. Snowflakes just kept on floating upwards.
Никто тебя больше не...
Друг. Пусть только попробуют.
That's totally Simeon. The fox gave me a slight tug and burst out laughing.
Ну что, Тоша, убежишь с воплями или с нами пойдешь?
Куда?
На аттракционы!
At the momentary gust, deceptive silence was broken by the sound of a distant flute. Memorizing and alluring, it brought the ring of crystal glass and the whispers of a fresh winter spring. If I had any doubts before, the flute song shattered the last of them. I started following my new friends before I could even make my decision. What? My legs carried out their own will, and the tunnels made of pine stepped apart. Bush bowed in front of our position. Everything looked dreamlike. Because there was even a clearing end up on I only saw in my dreams. The flute soared up in the treetops like some fantastical bird. The snowflake floated up in a spiral. The moon painted tree branches with silver. Alisa gasped in amusement. I was also in awe. I tilted my head backward as far as I could.
Очень красиво.
Wolfie howled in agreement.
Мелочи. Я покажу гораздо больше, если захочешь.
I did want. I want to see what the fox girl saw with her eyes hidden in the semi-dark of her cape. Now I feel weird about this masked kid. I felt weird for being the only one without a mask. I felt like I was naked in the January wind.
Скажите, а зачем вам маски?
I was trembling, but I wasn't scared. My trembling wasn't caused by the cold. It originated from the peculiar anxiousness, the anticipation of something amazing.
А тебе зачем?
I touched my cold cheek.
Но я без маски.
Человеческие ласки?
Человеческие дрязги.
Я же говорила, все жители поселка носят маски, только скрываются за ними отнюдь не люди.
И даже я?
Ты такой рассеянный, Антон.
Однажды мы уже нашли твои очки.
И шапку. И твое настоящее лицо.
I looked at the mask the fox was holding out to me. The bunny mask that looked like a silver ingot under the moonlight. I was curious to see the world's close split. Suddenly fighting its way through the flute's melody, a thought came to me. The glasses they found were in Simeon's position. My new acquaintance must have known what happened to him. Or even worse.
А куда подевался Семен? Что с ним стало? И с остальными детьми?
The bear and the owl looked at each other. The wolf boy curled into a ball and the fox lowered the pointy nose of her mask.
Тот, кого держали в клетке.
Тот, кто режет мелко-мелко. Тот, кто носит
носит кожаное лицо, забрал их.
Умел бы я креститься, перекрестился бы.
Хотите сказать, это был человек?
Чем ты только слушал? Разве можно назвать такого, как он?
Одно слово — взрослый.
В мире взрослых так ли?
Убийцы, жестокие дрессировщики и равнодушные родители. Лучше об этом вовсе не думать, чтобы не грустить. Не знаю, как вам, а мне печалиться совсем не хочется.
И я сегодня какой-то негрустный. Антон,
I was lost in thought, staring at the pines, trying to pinpoint the location of the flute. I was sure that the person who played it was standing right behind the tiny stockade. Someone tall going over the holes in the flute with their long fingers.
так что, сядем тосковать или займемся отдыхом?
Алиса хотела что-то показать.
Давай начнем с самой сладкой.
Fox girl took a handful of candy from her pocket and handed me to each of the kids. Covers shuffled, while a pineapple, a cocoa, a melon wafted through the air. The last street chocolate-flavored waffle candy, Alexa put right into my mouth. My tongue was engulfed in spiciness. I thought my body was covered in fur and small sparks were running from it. Did you just give me a drug? I chewed on the waffle and the chocolate. I gulped down and enjoyed the
Спасибо.
good taste. My gratitude was barely audible because my lips were already touching the insides of the mask. I didn't even notice how I put it against my face. The papier-mâché was warm, the mask stuck to my skin, giving it a nice prickle. The kind when you dive into a hot bath after being outside in the winter, when you lie there and purr from the soapy water.
Мое.
Чего стоим? За нас веселиться никто не будет.
И то верно.
The melody kept swirling in the field like a hurricane. I couldn't wait to release the energy, the heat that this enchanting music was filling me with. Oh my god. The owl jumped and disappeared into the sky. I heard her laughter from somewhere above, and then she landed back, huffing and sighing.
И ты так можешь. Попробуй.
I followed suit. Whoa, what? My feet tore off from the ground. I flew towards the sky like a rocket and screamed for happiness after seeing my friends down below. Wow, they suddenly got color. The wind helped me fly. It felt like I was jumping on a huge trampoline. The stars looked like vivid sparkles that I could just reach and lick up. The moon also got closer, and then I plunged. I got scared that I broke my legs for a moment, but my soul landed softly on the ground, and I regained my balance.
С нами ты в безопасности.
Everything's suddenly so colorful. I am drugged.
И все твои мечты станут явью. Я так счастлива наконец обрести тебя. Зайчик.
In a fit of merry laughter, I realized the most important thing: these words are not a threat. My real enemies, and I felt that with every single hair on my mask, were those who knew nothing about magic. Humans from the village. I also realized how alive my surroundings have become. I heard the dry grass under the snow moan. I saw faces of the trees and the stars. The trees were smirking and the stars were grimacing in fear. Oh my god, what the hell? That's right, be scared, I'll jump to you, and I snapped my teeth and then let a jubilant laugh, jumping up along with the fox. Wow, Alexa has pretty blue eyes. That's Paulina. We flew higher than the tallest pine and stayed in the air. I swirled. Alexa followed my rhythm. I knew that she was smiling, so I smiled too. And the flute just kept on playing, carrying us higher and higher.
Эй, тебя что, заколдовали?
That someone is standing next to me, I thought, trying to unglue my chin from the desk. My muscles felt slightly sore, but that feeling was present. The whole class was wondering about for some reason, whispering and passing notes to each other. I'm so confused of the time. What happened? Their face looks like discolored mask to me, bleak and boring. I yawned, remembering the time I was soaring high above the forest with Eliza by my side. Okay, I guess this is next day. Laughing and squeezing my hand. Perhaps, no, probably, was all just a dream. Because I didn't walk back from the forest, just woke up in my bed on a normal morning with tea and medicine. Still, I was hardly worried about trying to find a rational explanation for my night then. That feeling of flight was much more important. The knowledge of how it feels hanging in the air above the treetops of majestic pines and baring my teeth at the moon. Wait, there's another poster. Oh no, who is that?
Прости, задумался.
Слышал уже про Катю?
Oh, Katya's gone.
А?
Nice. Bye, bitch. I glanced at the empty seat in front of me.
Катя пропала.
My sleepiness was gone in an instant. I frowned in suspicion.
Как пропала? Быть не может.
Katya Sirmova, 12 years old, grade 6B, was last seen during the January 23 at schoolyard. Identifying features: green eyes, light brown hair, lean build. She was dressed in a fur-hatted coat and had a pom-pom, a white scarf, and gloves. Special identifying features.
Катя!
I guess that's her mom. Oh. Well, I guess that means that is all for Tiny Bunny for a while until chapter 4 comes out. Well, that was fascinating. I honestly don't get most of it, but it was fun. And I'm honestly kind of interested to see where this will all end. But, anyways, thank you everyone for watching. If you guys want to see more content on me, I usually stream on Twitch on Saturday and Sunday, GST time. For the time, I don't really have a schedule, but usually it's on those days. So check me out there if you want. I also update on Twitters, so you can also check my Twitter sometimes, I guess. But if you don't want to, stay on YouTube is also okay. Well, I guess that's all for today. Thank you for watching, and I'll probably see you on the next video. I don't know what will be the next video, but I'll see you then.